A comedian reads explicit Bible verses to moms for liberty. Probably enjoyed it. Watch.
I'm here today to talk about these woke schools that are failing to educate our children. When I look around this room, I don't see race. I don't even know what race is. So when you say things like slavery is bad, I'm like, bad for who? The Irish? I brought with me today a book that is available to children of all ages in the school's library. This book is filled with overt sexual acts, violence. It celebrates mass killings, and it's being used to indoctrinate our children. I'm going to read you some passages from this book, and you tell me whether or not this book is appropriate for your children. The Lord tried to kill Moses, but Zipporah used a sharpened stone and cut off their son's foreskin and rubbed the bloody ring on Moses' feet, saying, "You are now my bridegroom." This made the Lord leave Moses alone. If a slave owner beats a slave, male or female, with a stick so severely that the slave dies immediately, the slave owner should be punished. However, if the slave survives a day or two, he should get back to work. The slave is the owner's property. The Lord regretted ever creating human beings, and he was sad. So the Lord said, "I will wipe all the human race off the face of the earth. And while I'm at it, I'll kill the livestock and the crawling things too. I'll even kill all the birds in the sky. I wish I'd never created any of them in the first place." Now, do you think a child should be reading this book full of sexual violence and genocide? Books don't belong here at all. Ban this book, and let's focus on science, math, and raising administrators' pay. Thank you.
And
Made his case, didn't he? Yeah, he did. Per Raw story, Walter Masterson, a TikTok comedian known for his satirical routines, recently trolled Moms for Liberty. The activists had a school board meeting by demanding the removal of a certain book full of sexuality and violence. During the course of his speech, however, it became obvious he was quoting the Bible. Imagine that. The video ended with a dig at the right-wing majority within the Central Bucks Board of School Directors. As the Buck Country Beacon reported in July, they secretly rammed through at the last minute with zero transparency a pay increase for Superintendent Abe Luckaball for his loyalty. Aren't you be loyal to the students, families who want a good education? There you have it. That said, Luckaball resigned in November after Democrats won big in Philadelphia area school board elections. And according to Business Insider, the outgoing GOP-led board gave him, can I resign from this job? $712,000. That's the severance deal. Wowzer. Back to Masterson, however, as Raw story notes, as Republican activists around the country have mounted campaigns for book censorship in schools, Masterson has done a number of routines mocking them. Earlier this year, Masterson attended a school board meeting in Bucks County, PA, where he demanded the giving tree be removed for indoctrinating children with communism, and that every classroom display the Declaration of Independence, so kids have a map to where the Templar gold is buried. He's creative. He's funny. I think comedians are our greatest hope these days. You ought to know, Francesca, because they have a way of doing their brilliance, their routines, and making the rest of us look at ourselves and sometimes shrink down a little bit because we're so embarrassed by our conduct. I think it's the only way to reach people. You got to catch them off guard with comedy. Yes.
No, I love Walter. I mean, and he also, I think he was briefly a contributor to Rebel HQ, if not still a contributor to Rebel HQ. He's wonderful, and he very much puts himself out there. And you can get access to these meetings. And also, I would encourage, like, everyone doesn't have to have a bit or a shtick, but you can, I think a lot of, and in everyone's lives, you probably know there's a ridiculous anti-woke battle happening in your kids, at your kids' school, right? And like, we know that Proud Boys and Moms for Liberty, who are just massive psychos and also massive hypocrites, as we know from the pedophiles in the ranks of Moms for Liberty, they're out there making school board meetings sort of this like prime battleground. And so I think it's incumbent upon all of us to kind of like speak up and do our thing. And like, look, there's public comment in your cities as well. So I love that Walter did this. And yeah, the Bible is incredibly cancelable. Like it is chock full of violence, chock full of sexual stuff. Yes, there's talk about cutting off foreskin and rubbing the blood, like, it's bad. And then, yes, the slavery talk, all of that. And so that's apparently fine. It's okay. I mean, and again, look, I don't know how people were raised, but even as a young kid myself, raised with some Christian education about like Jesus dying for my sins, I think there's a certain level of like, as a kid, like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like it actually kind of freaks you out a little bit. And so honestly, and I'm not saying don't teach the Bible if you're Christian, if you believe in that, that's great, that's fine, you can find a way around it. But don't think that like Christian education is somehow not traumatizing or scary, right? It's just a different set of beliefs, but it's still just as scary.
Yeah, there's still some children out there who are having nightmares about Noah's Ark.
Sure, like I want to be, do I get to be one of the 2 humans that goes on the ark? Why was Noah one of the humans? By the way, who was Noah's counterpart? I don't know. Was he like, nah, I'm just one of me?
But I think you make a strong point that if you, look, all politics is local. You start there. That's really where the power is. You got to go to where it starts, baby. Take your phone, your literature, maybe a thermos. They probably have donuts or something for you there. So enjoy them. Your taxes paid for it. And then get after it. Make your voice heard. Speak up. Tell your truth. Because all Liberty moms and, proud what's-her-faces are doing is they're louder with it.
Yes.
They're organized in hate campaigns and they're louder with it. You get loud.